Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, the full game, on both single player and multiplayer on the GTX 750 Ti. To skip to any of the resolutions tested, check the timestamps down in the description. So this almost 6 years old card can run this game. Of course you have to lower the settings significantly and it's pretty hard to get 60 frames per second, even at 720p. You also have to use the lowest texture option in order to not run out of VRAM, which is something very important if you don't want the game to crash. When playing on 1080p, I overclock the GTX 750 Ti, then on 900p and 720p there's no overclock applied. So if you want better performance on 900p or 720p, I highly recommend that you overclock your GPU. It'll do wonders with the frame rates, especially at 720p to get closer to that 60 frames per second target. So in the options menu there are a few things I recommend tweaking. Basically, to get a huge boost in performance, lower particle quality from high to low. After that, the anti-aliasing options, despite being SMAA in most cases, they make one of the biggest differences in performance. One very important thing to know about anti-aliasing is that if you don't use T2X SMAA or Filmic SMAA T2X, the motion blur, the reflections, the depth of field will look significantly worse. It'll just look like some grainy effect on screen. That's why in the options menu there are multiple instances where the game warns you about that. If you can, use T2X SMAA or the Filmic option, but again it will affect performance over using SMAA 1X, and then also the ambient occlusion option helped out on the performance side. You can select to have ambient occlusion independently on static objects or dynamic objects, or have it on both at the same time. Of course, if you disable it, you have a good improvement in performance. And finally, I recommend lowering shadows and reflections together. By themselves, usually going from the highest to high helps a little bit, but then below high there wasn't a huge difference for what I could see. So lowering that along with screen space reflections together should have a good improvement in performance. But as always, if you can lower all that I mentioned together, that's the best chance to get the best improvement overall. But don't give any attention to the VRAM gauge, it's not accurate at all. If you have a 4GB card, use normal textures. If you have more than 4 gigs, use high, and if you have less than 4 gigs, use low or very low if you have a 2GB card. Other than that, the game will use significantly more RAM, and it might crash. That happened to me a couple times. And also talking about the VRAM, there are two cache shadows options. If you have an Nvidia card, I recommend you enable them. It should give you a couple extra frames, but use a little more memory. But on the AMD cards, I recommend you disable this option. On the RX 570, as an example, I ran into multiple crashes using those cache shadows options, so again disable them on AMD cards, enable it on the Nvidia cards. Other than that, the game should run fine. For the video I tested two parts, trying to aim for 60 frames per second when possible. So yeah, I'll first show you the campaign. That's one of the worst performance I saw so far on the GPU side. And then I'll show you the Ground War mode, which is the 64-player multiplayer mode. That one gave me the biggest hit on the CPU and GPU of all the multiplayer modes. If I play in the classic Call of Duty, I think it's 6 versus 6 or 8 versus 8 option of Team Deathmatch. That should run better than Ground War. Again, less players, smaller maps, that all makes a difference. That's why I'm showing you the worst case scenario I could find on the multiplayer side. On single player, I noticed that most drops happen when there are a lot of effects on screen, such as fire, explosions, smoke, volumetric lighting, all that kind of stuff. Other than that, it should be okay. Then on the system RAM side of things, the game used a little over 8 GB, so my recommendation, if possible, is to have more than 8 gigs of RAM. If you cannot manage that, the game might stutter quite a bit, or maybe crash, I'm not entirely sure, but dual channel is very important. On the CPU side though, a quad-core CPU was enough to get to 60 frames per second. Despite the CPU going to 100% and very often, the game still ran pretty good. If you have a 6-core i5 or Ryzen 5, then the frame time should be a little better, but overall it doesn't seem to require a lot of CPU to get constant 60s, even on the Ground War mode. But anyway guys, that's about it. I hope you keep enjoying the video, thanks for watching and see you next time.
Enemy UAV overhead. The lead is ours. Keep pushing. We lost B.
Enemies in the area. 7. Roger, on the move.
We need to keep this on a tight loop. Barkov's men are moving the gas tonight.
Heads up.
Down.
We're clear. Post up on the ridge and let's get the lay of the land.
Echo 3-1 to Blue Viking 5. Call for fire. Stand by for target confirmation.
Copy, 3-1. Viking standing by.
One in the tower. Left side high, not Army.
Check one, that's the entry.
Vehicles on the move.
Patrol vehicle. Contractors.
Security. Good targets. No Russian military presence. Call it in, CIA.
Blue Viking 5, this is Echo 3-1. Troops in the open, south gate. You are cleared hot.
Roger, 3-1. Target acquired. Weapons free in 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
Echo 3-1. Good effect on target. Viking is RTB. Good hunting.
Much obliged, Viking. We'll take it from here.
Heads up. Multiple guns on foot.
Clear. Force up.
Be advised, Echo 3-1 is not a patient man. Looks like someone was playing with fire.
Serves him right, hawking this chemical shit. Пожалуйста, помогите!
Put them out of their misery.
Got enemies inside.
Your way.
Taking them.
Roger, hitman's coming to you.
Element of surprise is not on our side, boys. Stay frosty.
Enemy counter UAV. We've lost radar. Enemy UAV overhead. Need backup on Echo. Charlie secure. Enemy UAV overhead. Need backup on Echo. Enemy personal radar overhead. Assist your team at sea. Enemy UAV overhead. Contact! We lost C. Allied IED. Check your fire! Allied UAV overhead. Надо обеспечить дополнительную охрану.
All hitman teams push to your 7-1. Roger, on the move.
We need to keep this on a tight loop. Barkov's men are moving the gas tonight.
Heads up.
Сюда, наверх! Я слышал! За
Okay,
кем-то!
drop him.
We're clear.
Echo 3-1 to Blue Viking 5. Call for fire. Stand by for target confirmation.
Copy 3-1. Viking is standing by.
Let's recce the area and make sure there's no Russian army down there. People coming to the main gate.
One in the tower. Left side high, not army.
Copy. Checkpoint, that's the entry. Vehicles on the move.
Patrol vehicle. Contractors.
Security. Good targets. No Russian military presence. Call it in, CIA.
Blue Viking 5, this is Echo 3-1. Troops in the open, south gate. You are cleared hot.
Roger 3-1. Target acquired. Weapons free in 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
Echo 3-1. Good effect on target. Viking is RTB. Good hunting.
Much obliged, Viking. We'll take it from here.
Heads up. Multiple guns on foot.
Clear. Force up.
CIA has a zero-tolerance policy for these assholes. Looks like someone was playing with fire. Serves them right, hawking this chemical shit.
Помогите!
Put him out of their misery.
Got enemies inside.
Your way. Roger, here.
Enemy UAV overhead. Enemies taking Delta. Allied UAV overhead. We lost Delta. Losing C. Securing Bravo. Allied UAV overhead. We captured Bravo. Enemy UAV overhead. Enemy at Charlie, go! Allied UAV overhead. Enemy UAV